This is going to be Make.com 101 class for complete beginners that are trying to learn automation using Make.com in 2026. I just noticed that a bunch of the videos that you have on here are really going to be Make.com from 2015 when it was still in, 2024, 2023 when it was still Integromat. But nobody is actually talking about the changes that Make.com has done so far in 2026. So if you are trying to get started with automation and you want to start building with Make.com, here are things that you should know about the platform. So once you sign up, right, this is what you see once you sign up. If you go to this organization settings, you can see the organizations that you're in, and you can also see your region, which is important. So when you are creating your account, depending on where you are, they can give you an EU1 or an EU2, like you can see mine. It's also important when you're trying to pay and when you're trying to connect Make to other platforms as well. They are going to ask you for your region, so you should know the region that you're using. I, for example, I'm using EU2. There's also like EU1. So you would see all of these. That's what, if you have a partner that is connected, you can also see this. And if you were affiliated with if you use someone's affiliate link, you would see it here, right? And by this here, you're going to see other things like how you change your billing details, how you add your payment details, how you invite someone to it. So if you are working with your team, or if you're trying to start using this for your business, what you want to do is create your primary account and then invite other people that you also want to use the platform. Say you have a developer that you are, bringing into the you are bringing in to build the system for you or build some things for you, you would have to invite them in here so that they will also be able to, if you click on this invite, right, you put in your email and then you give them a role. So you can make them a member or just an app developer. What I usually tell my clients to do is make me an app developer. I get all the functionalities that I need from here. I'll be able to do all the building and testing, but I will not be able to touch your billing or anything of that sort. I won't be able to touch that. So, but if you have like other team members you also want to stay in the loop with this, you can also add them as guests or whatever works here for you. You can also invite them there so that all of them will be in the same organization. So the other thing that is here is transfer of ownership. So if you want to move ownership of the account to some other person, so say, and this would work if maybe, I don't know, if you built it and then you want to move it to another company or another person, you can do that. But I rarely use this because all of my clients are always built sitting on or deploy into their system, sitting as like an app developer. So I've never had to build in like a new setup and then have to transfer ownership, because it just doesn't make sense to me. And the most important thing here is scenario. So to create a scenario is like where you get access to the automation platform itself, so that you'll be able to start building automations. As you can see here, you can see all the apps here, and you can start automating and connecting them, integrating them from here, right? So let's get back there. So as you can see, of course, this here, the average daily usage is going to show you how many units, how many credits basically you are burning through every day. And if you can see I currently have burned through almost all my credits. I'm even trying to top up, but I don't know what's wrong with my bank, right? So every time you run through one operation, it will cost you a credit. It will cost you some credit. Sometimes it can even cost you higher than one credit. So that's one thing that you understand, that every operation that you run through costs you credit. That's how it's being counted. So you can see here whether the usage reset. Mine is supposed to reset in 6 days, but I think I'm going to upgrade because I have a lot of things to build before then. And you can see your active scenario here. Because this is the free plan, you can only have 2 scenarios running simultaneously. Aside that, if you want to have more than 2 scenarios running, you would have to upgrade, right? And you can see everything here, just a graph showing you everything and the data transfer. And if you come down here, you will see the scenarios, and if the ones that are running, if they're up, or the ones that need your attention. Like this one, for example, I was running it for a client, but I had to pause it because I had to deploy it into their individual setup, right? So you can also see, other automations here that you can try and also lay your hands on, so that you will get more acquainted to the, to the software and how it works. And if you come down here, You will see your team here. If you come here, you're going to see like your teams. And if you come here to users, you will also see other users that are also logged in and using your account. You will see other users that are also logged in. And from your subscription, you can see how you can upgrade here. If you want to upgrade, you can just buy here. And of course, payments and everything and all. If you come down to utilities, you will see install app. So if you have any app that you install here that you are connecting from here, you are going to see them here, and also your scenario properties and your variables, which these ones are like not really necessary if you are just starting out, right? So the other thing that you would want to know here is the scenario. So every time you build something, you're going to see it here as scenario. So every setup that you build is called scenario. So once you go into there, into the dashboard itself and build an automation, it's called scenario in Meg.com. So if you come down to scenarios here, you're going to see all of your scenarios. Like you can see, these are all of mine that I have built. And you can also categorize them into folders. Like you can see, I have these folders here. You can add a folder here and then just name your folder. And once you have a name for your folder, just come to anyone that you want to add and do move to folder, choose your folder name. It will automatically be in that folder. So if you come here now and click on the folder, you're going to see it like so, right? So if you go to uncategorize, you are going to see all of the scenarios that have not been tagged in any folder. And if you go to all, you're going to see all of the scenarios, even the ones in a folder. So that's it for scenarios. So the next thing here is going to be the AI agent. So the AI agent here just shows you the AI agents that you have built and what you are connecting with it. Like I see, you can see here, these are all the agents that I have built, right? So this one was to, I think, work for, I think most of these are just like demo setups that I have. So basically all your agents comes here, and if you have any knowledge files, like you can see mine here, that's where you're going to see them. So when you're building an agent, you would be, if you want to train it better to be know more about your business, you're going to add something called a knowledge base, right? So that's what you're going to see here when you upload that to your setup. The next thing is going to be your credentials, and these are where you see all of the connections that you have done. And it's very funny that I didn't know about this up until like sometime, I don't know, maybe last year or something, because I kept looking for where I would find my connection, because sometimes some of the connections are like no longer working and you want to remove it, but you will not know where to come to. I legit didn't even know that these credentials exist, or I don't know if it's a new added feature, because I was looking for it, I didn't find it. But if you have like a bunch of connections and you know that some of them are not working and you don't want to use them again, you can just simply come to these credentials, right? And then just go in here and you'll be able to delete that connection. So you know that, so instead of you always seeing all those random connections when you are trying to build and some of those are useless to you, just come to credentials here and delete any connection that you do not want. So when you now go to build this setup using that tool, you are not going to see that connection anymore, right? So you can also see your keys here, which is mostly API keys. So any connected API keys, you can find them here. And the credential request, if you are, sent a request that they should, add something for you. Like you can see, I didn't send any request, but if I did, you would see it here. So the next thing here is going to be webhooks. So webhooks are basically like I don't know the simple term to use for this, but webhooks are more like um, triggers that you're sending to another software, right, to pull data and give to you, basically. So some Make.com allows for direct connection and also allows for webhook connection. So these are like the webhook connections that I currently have. So these are the webhook connections that I currently have. And as you can see, if you open it, you can see a lot more. And if you come to this more, you're going to see your NCP toolbox, your templates. And this is where I usually just recommend any beginner that is starting with Make.com for the first time, explore. Come here and search out for all of these, templates. Get your hands on them and just try to see how you can update what is already there. You can come in here and create like a new scenario from this template, so that you'll be able to get your hands familiar with how to connect, what to connect, how the connection works. So that way, when you start building your own independent setups, it won't be strange to you again. So this is just like a way to start, an easier way to start building automations. Because sometimes if you're trying to learn or trying to build automations, maybe for your business, you might not really be sure of what you want to automate yet and what is possible. So this just gives you like a mind map of what is possible, what you can automate. So that way it continues to build your creativity around what you would automate in your business, right? So there are lots and a lot of tools, templates here that you can use here. And other things would be like the data stores, devices connected. So another thing that is important to note is that with make.com now you can add devices. So you can see this iPhone that I'm shooting with is the iPhone you're seeing here. If I want to add another device, I just have to get the make.com app on that device and then give that device a name and connect it, and I will be able to scan into that device, right? So aside from that, every other thing is really not necessary. Data structures, okay, data structures are like say data formats of a particular set of data, right? So data structures are really mostly, I really mostly use it when I'm trying to parse JSONs. So for example, when I get a data from OpenAI is going to, if I say that OpenAI should analyze something and return, for example, the video that I posted before now, I asked OpenAI to look at what's it called, a resume, and give me the person's name, their person's email, their score, and their skills, and all of that. So when OpenAI returns that data, it returns it clustered together. So I need to be able to split that data into like email as a separate component, the name as a separate component, so that I can feed it into its individual columns in a spreadsheet. So that's where data structure comes in. I need to build a data structure around how that data usually comes, so that I'll be able to pass it and break it into its individual components, so that I can put it in my spreadsheet. I really hope that makes sense. So that's what these data structures are. You can see different data structures for different things here. I have like bank data structure that was like to pass my bank statements into my transactions database. So there are just different structures here. But when you're starting out, you might not really bother yourself around this. And so that's really much like a walkthrough around the setup. If you come to where your logo is, you can see your profile here, and you can also, of course, sign out. You will see like you'll be able to get your API access here if you are trying to directly connect to another software or something like that. You can see I connected this setup to Claude. That's why you can see this here. And if you want to set up two-factor authentication, whatever you want to do here, you can also well do this. So I think that's mostly it with the Make.com software, and most of the things that you might need as a beginner. Every other thing in here is advanced, and you will just get to learn about them as you use the software. I'm still learning about a bunch of things like custom apps, for example. I'm still trying to explore that and see how that really works, because I really don't have like a custom app yet, and I'm not trying to build one, so I don't know what the functionality is really like. But of course, I don't need this to be able to build automations, or build these automations for myself or for my clients. So it's really something that I can neglect for now, right? So that's basically it for here. And if you are trying to get on make.com and you have any questions around, I don't know why I keep checking this. If you're trying to get on make.com and you have any problems, you can let me know in the comments. And with that being said, I'm thinking it's going to be a wrap from me. So I will see you in my next video. Have a nice day.